What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. As we all know, there are a bunch of awesome flares available through Onslaught, and you actually get an entire set of flares at floor 92. The Old Doom set here. You get the Mark of Old Doom. You get the Tendrils of Old Doom. Beat floor 92. The Dark Whispers aura, which actually looks really cool. Once again, floor 92. And then the Writhing Dark on the feet, which once again, floor 92. So being floor 92 is quite the milestone. You get lots of good stuff. Get an entire flare set. I'm looking forward to it. And as you see here, I'm on floor 92, map 3 of 3, and wanted to share this with everyone. Let's take a quick run through the map and I'll show you what I've got. I've got a Hex Sigard Whopper lane with Detonator, and then a Stabby Dargan's lane with Longshot directly above it. For that, I'm using a Mystic Wall or Reflect Beam, 2 Ramsters, a Poison Dart Tower, and a Skyguard Tower to handle that ground and flying lane. Now this Game Ogre lane just opened up, and I threw down a Proton Beam just to slow those ogres up. And as you notice, it's a Spellbreaker lane, so they're going to take increased physical damage. So I loaded it up with 4 cannons right here at the back of the lane. Now this other ground lane, this Geo Hexzerker Whopper lane, is a phased lane. So I didn't use a wall. Instead I used an obelisk right here. And that was doing double duty for me, as any of the kamikazes that came out, I was hoping was going to dive bomb right into the obelisk. And then also, it gives a little bit more flamethrower damage there since I am playing actively on the Mystic. Now, of course, ground traps, nodes, and auras are allowed, so I loaded it up fat. I got flame auras and lightning strike auras for the flyers and the ground mobs. I've got protons and some fissures for the ground mobs alone, and really just jacked this area up with quite the little spawn camp there. Now, coming on over to this lane, we've got a Lava Zerker Whopper lane with Controlled Burn. Now, Controlled Burn, of course, it's that one. Oh yeah, so got to have Poison, Oil, Drench, something going on. So I've got Freeze on the Proton Beams. As you see, I threw some Oil Geysers in throughout the lane all the way to the wall. So I've constantly got oil going on. I do have Fissures as the bulk of the damage. Now, of course, when an oil mob gets some sort of flame damage, it ignites. Now, in the process of igniting, it does remove the oil. So I'm actually hoping the mob dies before that point with the Controlled Burn. And then, just in case, down here in back, I do have a Poison Dart Tower with Explosive Poison, just to spread some poison around on that lane. Now, right here, we've got an EMP Kamikaze Flyer lane with Proximity, and then a Geo Hex Whopper lane with Wall Leech. I just kind of spammed it up through here. I was not originally intending on upgrading this lane much, so I went with Flame Auras over Fissures, as Flame Auras, of course, are better at Tier 1, Fissures are better at Tier 3. Since I knew I wasn't going to upgrade them enough to get them there, I went with Flame Auras instead. I've got a Proton for some damage and some CC, and then threw in a couple of Lightning Strikes just for good measure. Now, it is an EMP Kamikaze lane, so there's double dive bombers, so I went with 2 Skyguard Towers to close the deal there. Now here, as we see, this is actually going to be one of my boss lanes, and I just jacked it up with Fissures. I've got 3 Fissures, I upgraded them nicely. I did throw in a couple of Lightning Strike auras for some heavy-hitting single target damage, and even though there is Kursakaze, I took the Fissure and Ground Trap route anyway because the number of actual kobolds to trigger the Kursakaze was very low. And then, as you see here, we're going to have the Bastille Master. Now, I don't have any towers over here, so I don't really have to worry a ton about the Bastille Master. I will probably lose that Proton Beam in the process of that mean girl coming out. However, I feel pretty confident with that lane. Now, right here in the middle, we've got Psyfrost Vanguard Throwers. So I went with a Wall and a Reflect Beam, plus 3 Ramsters to get the bulk of the damage done, and then some single target Lightning Strike auras thrown around as far out as possible, as I don't want them getting disabled by the cyborgs, of course. So I put those way far out there. And then moving on over to the area I'm going to fight. We got a stabby zapper lane up there, which is an easy one. So I've got one unupgraded, Skyguard Tower. And then we've got a double lane here. We got Psy Lava Whoppers, and we're going to have a boss. Plus we've got a Zerker Whopper lane. Now we do have Cyborgs in the mix, so I wanted to avoid any ground traps, nodes, or auras. However, once again, I did throw lightning strikes auras that were far enough out to stay out of the range of the Cyborgs. And if anything does make it down here to my walls, there's 3 Ramsters waiting for them. Now, I gave myself a nice long lane here because this is the lane that I kind of want to fight in throughout this fight. So I made it nice and long with some assistance of the lightning strikes and then that Ramster last resort. And last but not least, over here we got Psy-Hex Zerker Throwers with Brittle and Abominable. So the enemies can't be slowed, and they're going to receive a damage resistance debuff every time they're hit with hero abilities. So I went with a wall and a reflect. Yeah, there are hex throwers there. And then just went with 3 cannons and a Ramster up top. Threw some ups on those. And hopefully this will result in a win. So let's go ahead and get it started and see if I can't get lucky enough to get those flares. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to leave a nice long lane here is I wanted lots of areas for some Mystic crowd control, and I'm just going to start fights and let these guys duke it out. So I'm going to keep that going, keep my CC going really as long as I can. Now, as the bosses come out of the other lanes, I may have to go give a little assistance, and this is the first wave for that Game Ogre lane, so I do want to keep an eye on that on the mini-map. Let's see, we'll get a little sparkle party there for those assassins. Piece of cake. And then just get right back to the pack here. The Call to Madness, of course, is just really incredible CC, and it makes the mobs beat each other up. And I tell you what, you don't see a fight until you've seen an ogre fight. So that, of course, is my goal every time I've got multiple ogres in a lane where I'm fighting in. Oops. Lagged backwards a little off into the water there. Hopefully that doesn't cost me the match. We will find out. Looks like I got a big old push coming down there. I think I've got time to get over there. Oh, indeed. We've got lots of mobs coming, but once again, I did make my fighting lane the longest one possible. That way I'd have plenty of time for emergencies just like that. Not sure what happens there, but as you all know, I'm never shy about jumping off into the water. I do that just about every map. Part of it is I just like to blindly jump backwards, and I cannot break myself of the habit. And then the other part is 100% full-on derp. 18, 16 mobs left. They're dying off fast. That Malthius, of course, is still just refusing to come out. Let me come up here, see if I can't start a fight, maybe give Malthius a little bit of encouragement to come on out and say hi. Getting a little damage going on him now anyway. He actually kind of looks stuck. Same thing with that Guardian appears to be stuck there. They're trying to get out. Oh, there we go. The Lava Guardian finally came out. Punched right in the head. I got the full clubbing that time. Of course, I intended to not die at all during this recording. However, as long as there's no penalty for death other than the chance of losing, it usually doesn't bother me too much. So we got Malthius here, still just refusing to come out. I guess maybe he's not stuck after all. Maybe he's just being stubborn. So there we go. We got Malthius down, and then we've got one more mob that's being a little picky over here. That's probably a Hex Thrower. Yep, indeed it is. Let's go ahead and get that Hex Thrower wrecked, and there we go. So awesome. Getting 4 flares just from one floor. Definitely a nice milestone. Of course, those floor 114 flares look pretty dang cool. But I am anxious to check these out. So let's take a peek at them here real quick. See how they look on the Mystic. I think they'll actually go with this set pretty well. See the mark of Old Doom. Very, very nice. I'm unsure on this one. I really like the wings. I'm a definite fan of the wings. So that one I probably won't use all that much. It does look cool and all, but like I said, I just kind of like the wings. Let's go with the Hypno wings here this time. However, on the waist, I think that is going to go real nicely. Oh yeah, my Mystic's looking sharp here. And then the same thing on the feet. I think I'll probably avoid the tentacles just because this Ravenlord Mist does just work so well with the rest of the costume. The Hypno wings actually seem a little bit out of place. Maybe go with those? The Amethyst? Or do we want to go dark with the Ebon Wings Grace? I think we'll go with that. Anyway, looking snazzy. Got myself some brand new flares. Pretty stoked about that. But that will do it for now, so thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.